Hello everyone, welcome to Beginner's Guide. In today's tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to create this modern animated website using simple CSS and HTML. So this particular website has got an animation, as you can see them here, and then it has got the menu section up there. So when I hover on this menu section, there is a nice background color. Even the color of these menu items have been changed from white to black. So this is exactly what I'm going to teach you in this particular tutorial. So before I begin this tutorial, in case if you have not subscribed the channel yet, please do subscribe. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. Now let's get started. I'm going to open my desktop. Within this desktop, I have a folder. Within this folder, I have two images, one for the logo, another one for the background image. I have an HTML file and I have a CSS file. Now I'm going to open this one with my text editor. Here we go. This is my HTML. This is my CSS. If you go there to the folder structure, you can see the HTML, CSS and the two images that I have them here. Now let's get started. So in the body section, I'm going to create a div with a class name called container. Okay, now if you can see our actual design, we have the nav bar, and within this nav bar towards the left side we have the logo and the label saying build us. Right side we have the different menu items. So for that, I'm going to create a nav tag. Within this nav tag, I'm going to create a div with a class name called logo. Within this div, I'm going to have my image and the label saying build us. So for the image, I'm going to use the image tag. The source will be logo-1 dot. This is a file that I have. As an alternate message, let me say no. Then followed by, I need to have the text saying build us. For that, I'm going to use the span tag. Here I'm going to say build us. Then towards the right side, I have the menu items. For that, I'm going to create an unordered list down the div section of this particular portion. Now I'm going to have 5 menu items. So I'm going to say list, and then inside I'm going to have an anchor tag. So here I'm going to use the hash because I'm not going anywhere. So inside I'm going to say home. Now I just wanted to duplicate this one for 5 times. Alright, so we have managed to create the nav bar with the logo and the label and the menu items. Let me save and open with my browser to see how does this one would look like. So here we go. I'm sure that there is a big logo image here and the menu items are here. The label for the logo is here. Now we need to style this one. For that, I'm going to my style sheet. I've removed the basic margin and padding using the universal selector name called asterisk. So now I'm going to select my container class. I want to set the width and height. Width will be 100%, height will be 100 VH. Now I want to set the background image. I'm sure that you have seen the background image here. And this background image is not normal because there is a color shade on top of it, right? So for that, I'm going to use the property name as background image. Since I'm not just going to get the background image, I want to have a color shade on top of it. For that, I'm going to use the linear gradient property with these two color codes. Right now I need to attach my image so that this color code will be on top of the background image. So in order to attach the background image, we are going to use the URL property. Here you need to pass the name of the image that you have. So what is the name of my image here? Background.jpg. So I need to pass that one. I hope it's clear. Now I need to set the position of my background image. So I'm going to say background position. I want them to be displaying at the center of my page, and then background size would be cover. Let me save, go and refresh the browser to see the changes. There is no background image at this moment. Let me go and check where we went wrong. I missed the comma here. That's the reason why there is an error there. So let me save, go and refresh. Here is the background image with the shadow on top of it, right? Now we need to style this logo and the text and the menu items here. For that, let me go to my CSS. Now I just wanted to style this div part. I wanted to style this nav tag. So I'm going to pick the nav tag, and then I want to set the width to 100%. And then I want them to be displayed as a flex so that everything will be displayed in an horizontal line. Justify content will be space between because I want to have a space between each menu items. And then align items would be center. And I want to set the padding. It will be 0.5% from top, left, right and bottom. Let me save and go there to see how does this one would look like. Now as you can see them there, these things are there in the right side and the image and the label is here in the left side. Now I need to style this label and the image here. So for that I'm going to the nav tag again, and then let's say I wanted to style the logo. I'm going to target the logo class. As you can see them here, I'm sure that you have noticed there is a logo here under the nav tag. So this is what I wanted to style. I want to set the display property to a flex because I want them to be displayed in a horizontal line. Then I'm going to set the line items. It will be center, font size will be 30 pixel, font weight will be bold, and then I want to set the color for that particular text builder. So the color code is this. So let me save, go and refresh to see if there is any changes in this label builders here. Yes, there is a changes. Now I need to work on this particular part, logo. So for that I'm going to the nav. From there I'm going to the logo class. Inside I'm going to the img tag, that is where my image is. So let me set the width of that particular image. Width, let me say 80 pixel, and then margin right. So this margin right property will set the space between the logo and the text builder. So let's say just 3 pixel. I don't want to have a lot of spaces between the logo and the text. So I'm just going to set 3 pixel. Okay, so there is this space here. Now I need to work on this part at the right side, the menu items. For that I need to go to the list items. I'm going there to the nav tag, and now the list, then the list. I want to display them next to each other, so I'm going to use the display property as inline block, and then I want to remove those bullets, so list style will be none, and then I want to set the margin. So top and bottom, let's say 8 pixel, left and right, let me say 22 pixel, so that they will have space between each menu items. Here we go. Now I need to remove these links, as well as I want to change the color of this text. For that I need to go to the next level. So in the sense, I need to copy this. I'm going to the anchor tag. Now I wanted to remove those underlines. For that I'm going to use the property name as text decoration, will be none, and then I want to set the color for those text. So the color code would be this. I want to set the font weight. Font weight, I want them to be bold, and then I want to set the font size. So font size, I would say it would be 17 pixel. So let me save, refresh the browser to see the changes. Here we go. This one looks nice, right? So when I go to the actual design, when I hover on this navigation bar, there is a nice background color. Even the color of these menu items have been changed from white to the black. So to do that, I'm going to my style sheet again. I'm going to write the sudo class name called hover. So when I hover on the nav bar, I want to change the background color, right? So background color, I'm going to set this background color. So when I save this one, let's go there to check whether it is working or not. When I run this one, this is the actual one actually. So when I hover on this one, the background color have changed, but unfortunately I'm unable to see the menu items. So for that I wanted to change the color of these menu items. To do that, you just copy the same thing. For the menu items, you need to go to the another level, A. So now set the color. The color code will be this. So when I save this one, when you go there, refresh, when you hover, there will be a background color. Even the color for the menu items have changed. But when I hover on this one, there is no smooth transition, isn't it so? But when you go to the actual design, when you go there, there is a smooth transition. To add this smooth transition, I'm going to my, so put this transition into the nav part. So save, go there, refresh. Let's see how does this one. Yes, now there is a smooth transition. Now we have managed to work with the nav tag. Now we need to work on this content part. So for that, I'm going to create a div with a class name called text area after the nav. So I'm going to say area, it's a div class. So within this text area, I need to create 3 things. One is a h1 with the content, and then there is a paragraph, if you can see them here. So this h1, then paragraph, and then I need to create these 2 buttons, right? So here I'm going to create the h1 tag. Let me just copy this content. So in the actual design, D and modern, they are found in the different line. So I'm going to use the break so that it will be go to the different line. I'm going to use the paragraph. Let me copy this paragraph. I hope it's clear. Now I have 2 buttons down there. This one has got a border, this button has got no border. So for that, I'm going to create another div down there with a class name called btn class. Inside I'm going to have two buttons. So one button is learn more, another one is a contact us. So let me save, go and refresh the browser to see the changes. Yes, everything is there. Now we need to style these things. So let me style them. To style the div with the text area as a class name, so I'm going to set the margin top. From margin top it's going to be 8%. From margin left I want to set the same 8%, and then the color of the text I want them to be white in color. This is for the whole text area. Now I wanted to style the h1 tag in there. So text area h1, I want to say font size. Let's say I want to increase the font size to 100 pixel, and then font weight I want them to be bold, and then I want to use the different font family. So let me save and refresh to see the changes. As you can see them there, this one has come here because of the margin top and margin left property. The font family is different from others too. So now we need to focus on the paragraph as well as the buttons. To focus on the paragraph, I hope you have already guessed, just like the way that we have picked the h1, now we need to pick the paragraph. So again, I'm going to set the properties such as line height, let's say 28 pixel. So this line height would determine the space between the h1 and the paragraph. When I save this one, go there and refresh. So there is a space between this modern and this one. Now as you can see them there, everything is been displayed in the same line, but here after some point some lines are starting in the next line. To do that, I'm going to set the property name as max width. I'm going to say 450. So when the maximum width is 450, it will go back to the next line, as you can see them there. Right, it has been nicely done so far. Now we need to focus on the buttons. In order to focus on the buttons, we have a class name called btn class. So for the btn class, I want to set the margin top. From the margin top, it's going to be 30 pixel, and then I need to focus on these two buttons. In order to focus on those two buttons, I'm going to use the button tag. Within the button tag, I'm just going to say I want to remove the background. I'm sure that you have seen the white color, so I want to set them to none. And then I want to remove the borders. I want them to be none. And then I want to set the color of the text to be white. So let me save. So you see there is a background color. The color of the text is black. As soon as I refresh, now the background color has been removed. The text color is white in color. Now I want to move these two buttons to this side, as well as I wanted to make this one as a button with a border like this. For that, what I'm going to do, since this is the only button is going to have a border, I'm going to create a class for this, and then I'm going to call this one as a btn, because that is the only button is going to have a border, right? So now I'm going to focus on that particular button with a class name called btn. I want to set the border, let's say 3 pixel solid white. After setting the border, I want to set the padding. It will be 12 pixel and 37 pixel. I want to set the border radius so that we can have the curved shape border. So the border radius would be 20 pixel. And then I want to set some space between the first button and the second button. For that, I'm going to say margin right property. It would be 15 pixel, so that there will be a space between those two. So let me go there. There is no space at this moment, right? When I save this one, you see there is a space now. There is a border. Now I need to move this one to the right. So I'm sure that you have noticed for these two, I have used 8% to move from this left to right. I'm going to use the same property here. So for that, I'm going to set the property as margin left would be 8% again. So now when I save and refresh, I'm sure that you would be able to see the result. Now I'm sure that you can able to see the result. The button is here, the same line with this other text, and then there is a space between these two. Now the only thing that we are remaining with is an animation part. So we need to animate these contents. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a class. So I wanted to animate this h1 paragraph and the buttons. So for that, I'm going to create a class for each of these items, and then I'm going to call this one as a, let me say, slider. I want to animate the h1 and then paragraph, as well as I wanted to animate these buttons as well, right? So for the buttons, I have the class name as button class. So let me just add another class name here as a slider. Now I'm going to pick that slider. Inside, I'm going to add the animation. The name of this animation would be, let me say, animate. Then the animation would be 1 second linear forwards. I hope it's making sense. Now, because of the animation, I'm just going to use the keyframe properties. So within these keyframes, I need to specify the name of the animation. In this case, I have said animate. So inside, I'm going to say at 0%, I'm going to use the transform property. It will translate towards the x-axis. Here I'm going to say 100 pixel and then the opacity will be 0. I'm going to copy this part again. I'm going to paste them down there. So this one, instead of 0, it will be 100%. So here it will be 0 pixel. The opacity will be 1. Let me save, go and refresh so that you will see the difference. Now you can see the animation, the contents are moving from right to the left. But the problem here is in the actual design, first the heading one is coming, paragraph, then the buttons. Here everything is moving at the same time. Right? Now what do I need to do? I need to set some animation delay. Let this H1 be animated at the same time, but this paragraph should come after the H1. This button should come after the H1 and paragraph. For that, I'm going to use the property name as animation delay. First, I'm going to set it for paragraph with a class name called slider. For this, I'm going to set the animation delay, let's say 1 second. And then after that paragraph, I want the button to be sliding in. For that, I'm going to select the class name for the button. Buttons is a button class. Then the class name is slider. This one I'm sure that you have already guessed. The animation delay is 2 seconds. So that this one would come after H1 and paragraph. Let me go and refresh to see the difference. Yes, first one is H1, paragraph, and the buttons. The problem here is all the contents are here, but here when you refresh, first H1 is there, no paragraph, no buttons. Things are coming afterwards, right? But here the contents are just there, just that the animation is happening in each of the items at different time. Now I want to hide these paragraphs and the buttons by the time when this content sliding in. Then afterwards I just wanted to slide in the paragraph. Then afterwards I wanted to slide in the buttons. For that, what I'm going to do, simply I'm going to set the opacity to 0 for the paragraph and the button. So for the button, for the paragraph here, I'm going to set opacity to 0 by the time when the H1 is sliding in. After that, paragraph would slide in. After paragraph, I want to say opacity 0 to this button class. So when you say opacity 0, you will not be able to see the content. So initially you will see the H1, then you will see the paragraph, then you will see the buttons. Let me go there to refresh. Yes, H1 is coming, paragraph is coming, P tag is coming. H1, paragraph, button. Guess what? Now you have learned how to create this modern animated website using simple HTML and CSS. If you like this video, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe the channel if you have not yet. Thank you so much.